Hey, welcome back. Can you hear me, Brian? I think you might be on mute.
Let's
Brian?
try that one more time. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfect. Nice,
Awesome.
nice.
How's it going?
Yeah, not bad. And yourself, Brian?
Yeah. Everything is good here. It's obviously been a wild week in the markets. So there's been a lot on
Oh,
our
yeah.
minds here at Santiment, trying to figure out where we're going to be going next.
All right, so this is going to be an awesome episode. So today is Thursday, 15th of June. Well, over on this side, it's probably still Wednesday, the 14th on your end, Brian.
Correct. Yep.
All right. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you're tuning in from. We're welcome to Future Proof. So today, again, we have our special guest, Brian from Santiment. Very big, warm welcome to you, Brian. And we're going to be looking at the markets today. So look, if it's your first time, don't forget to, if you're coming on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to click the like icon, follow us, and then off we go. So, Brian, let's kick it off. Over to you.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a very volatile week or so. Pretty much throughout June, things have really been unpredictable and moving in the wrong direction for most of us who are bullish on the markets most of the time. And there have been a few separate events. Obviously, the first one at the beginning of the week was the SEC lawsuits that were handed down to Binance and Coinbase, and that really spooked a lot of people, caused some people to move coins off exchanges as a precaution. People are still quite numb and raw from the FTX situation that happened. So there's some cautiousness there and sensitivity whenever the SEC gets involved. And then earlier today, I think during the time you guys were sleeping over there in Malaysia, the Fed decided to make the stance of no interest rate hike being needed this time around. And that seemed like a good situation for the crypto markets as well, considering interest rates not going up means that equities are likely to go up, and crypto and equities have, at least for most of the past year or so, been closely connected. However, it looked as though equities got a nice boost from that news, while crypto did not. In fact, crypto had a pretty big drop as soon as that happened. And the main reason that we're seeing that could be happening is because crypto is actually a little more correlated to gold and silver right now. Precious metals have been very tightly paired with crypto's price as of late. And precious metals have been benefiting a little bit from all of these interest rate hikes. And as soon as the announcement was made that there wouldn't be another one, at least for now, equities went up, the dollar, gold, and silver all went down, and crypto went down. And Bitcoin had something like a 3% drop. For Ethereum, it was more like 5%. And this was kind of all at once over the span of maybe 10 minutes. And a lot of altcoins all are still down about 4 to 6%, sometimes a few that are 7 or 8% down ever since the news went down. So it's a very unpredictable time, and the question now is, how are traders going to react? Are they going to all try to buy the dip? Are they going to be too scared? We have some data that can really answer that question, but I'm very interested to hear what you and your circle has been saying about these two big events.
Yeah, I mean, you can imagine the surprise I had this morning when I, first thing I do when you wake up, obviously, is to check prices. And so when I got up and I looked at the prices, I was like, whoa, market's taken a bit of a dip, and we were wondering. Well, I was wondering what happened, and to be honest, I still haven't deep dived into it yet. Yeah, but it's interesting the fact that the markets, Well, the crypto markets has gone the other way. Instead of with the news of no interest rates hike, that is
Yeah,
actually down. So that was quite a surprise.
big surprise here. Yeah, I can share my screen and show you kind of what I'm talking about with the correlation right now and the overall hype and worries related to the SEC lawsuits.
Sure, let's do that. It's well, I guess it's as you say, it may have to do with the lawsuits that's happening right now. I think the latest was that Binance and uh Binance and the SEC have agreed to work things out.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a rumor right now, but I think people are at least more optimistic. Uh, the SEC actually asked for an extension because uh, they were requested to answer the question of why Bitcoin and Ethereum are securities. This has been a question that's been going on for a decade with all
Hmm.
of these intermittent, threats coming the way of Binance and these other exchanges. And they actually said they
Yep.
needed more time to answer it because they didn't have a very clear answer. Maybe they didn't expect to have that question so scrutinized, but that's what happened. And now maybe the two sides are working something out. Who knows?
Yeah,
Could just be
yeah,
a routine shakedown that we see once or twice a year.
yeah. Let's have a look at your screen, Brian.
Yep. So can you see the chart here for Bitcoin, Ethereum, S&P, and gold?
Oh, I can see.
It's not good. Let's try this again.
No. Oh, okay. Yep.
I'm going to try sharing screen,
Cool.
sharing a window.
Yeah, it's been okay. So let's add that one to the stream. That one's come up.
Can you see my mouse moving?
I can see a window, a Chrome window with is this it? Do you? Maybe that's not it. I can see the mouse moving. Yeah.
Can you describe what you're seeing?
I'm just seeing a window of Chrome with many tabs on it, and um, it's the same.
Okay. So
I mean,
if screen sharing isn't working today, we can always just talk. I'll try
that's all
one
right.
more time.
Yeah, let's try one more time. Okay. Yeah. I think that's coming up.
So this may be the only tab I can share.
Okay.
Is it switching screens when I do that?
No,
Okay, so it's only sharing one tab. That's fine.
Okay.
So what we're looking at right now is Bitcoin and Ethereum and S&P and gold. S&P is this blue line, which is now at a 14-month high. Bitcoin and Ethereum are back to 3-month lows. Ethereum actually fell to its lowest since March 14th. Bitcoin is at its lowest since about the 16th. And you can see that it's much more closely tied to gold right now. You see how this is right when the news hit. It was actually right after markets closed. So you won't see this line continue to go forward until the US markets open again. But futures immediately went up for stocks, down for gold, and down for Bitcoin and Ethereum. And you can see that it's almost like this inverse correlation right now with the S&P doing this and the crypto doing that. So this is rare and not something we've really seen outside of occasional stretches in 2020 and 2021. So that tells me that this is actually a long-term good thing because the reliance on equities in order for Bitcoin and Ethereum to move in any direction is pretty slim compared to just 2-3 months ago, and it was very tight. You can see before, Bitcoin and Ethereum, especially Ethereum, running very close to what the S&P was doing. So with that said, I want to also show how the whales are looking here. I'll just use the same tab for all my charts.
Cool. I think the last time we saw that may have been in 2017 when there were less institutional crypto investors, and it was made predominantly retail, and we saw that similar correlation happening.
You're totally right. I think it could have been that long for like an actual sustained period. And obviously 2017 ended up being a pretty good year for crypto, and for those who remember.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I mean, looking right now, the question is, are whales and institutions just dumping right now, or are they kind of just hanging on? And I think the latter is more true. Bitcoin is starting to go down just slightly in terms of the percentage held by sharks and whales. But look at how Tether and USD coin, there's just more and more accumulation. So the money isn't exactly moving away from crypto. It's just moving into stable coins where they're kind of sitting on the sidelines, perhaps waiting for a situation just like what we're seeing right now. Maybe we get back to a support level at like 22K or so. Whatever it is, there's still plenty of money in crypto from these key stakeholders that can drive up the price. So they're not moving into fiat. They're just kind of hanging out.
Yeah. Just waiting on the sidelines.
Right. And another thing here, we can look at the crowd reaction to the lawsuit that's going on. And we can see the social volume for Binance, Coinbase, and the SEC. It's all kind of died down now, but this is when it was all impacting everything. And the price, it's kind of hard to see the green line, but it actually dropped here. And as everyone was overreacting to the news, the price jumped back up until they stopped talking about it so much. And then, other factors continue to drive down the price. But that's something to keep an eye on as well. And you can even look at specific platforms, Reddit, for example, big chunk right here, Twitter, huge, and then it dropped off. And 4chan has just gradually fallen off itself. But yeah, it's the crowd seems to be very sensitive to the latest news happening about it. And I also want to show off the sentiment right now for some of the top cap assets. So if we look at the last 6 months, this is the overall weighted sentiment. This is the volume of the mentions of the asset multiplied by the positive versus negative ratio. And you can see it went kind of negative right here. This is generally when bounces happen. Then everyone goes euphoric when all of crypto has this huge run in mid-March. And then as it starts to flatten out, they get a little negative again here. Prices have been stagnant since. We have this one big spike on this crash in particular. And now we're actually in this super negative point. And it's the lowest we've seen since Black Thursday, believe it or not, in 2020. So more than 3 years ago is the last time we've been this negative. So clearly people are down on crypto, not a lot of buy the dip enthusiasm. And, we can even check on it by doing this and see how much people are actually calling for a dip buy. And it's not much at all. Social volume is very low for mentions related to buy the dip. We also can see the trending words here, where you can actually look at the context for each of the top 10 most trending keywords on social media. And we have an AI bot now that will instantly tell you the context of why someone is talking about the blackout so much. And this is actually related to Reddit because of some corporate decisions to monetize and make it more expensive for people to use the platform and remove third-party apps that had been carrying the app for so long. Curve is actually number one. And I think the reason for that is because of a stable coin seen as a positive development for Curve. Jerome Powell, obviously. We've got the Fed here. And then we have like Nano, which is interesting.
Oh, no.
I think maybe it just went viral due to a Reddit post. But yeah, I mean, this is a super interesting development that we've added to our platform to help give context as to why markets are moving the way they are right now. And obviously, these two are the big ones. The Powell and Fed keywords are driving markets most recently.
Yeah. What's interesting, the one about Nano, I haven't heard about Nano in a while.
Yeah, it appears to just be getting a little bit of increased attention due to a Redditor talking about its wallet.
Cool.
But yeah, what other topics do you think has been interesting on your end of things in terms of your community's interest levels?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple. I guess with the amount of Bitcoin transactions happening on the was it the BRC20, and also the upcoming Litecoin halving in August. That's probably something of interest for us to look into.
Sure. So the amount of Bitcoin transactions is pretty much regular, nothing too out of the ordinary here. Circulation is pretty normal. Daily active addresses has been coming back down after getting a bit of a spike in June, in the first week of June.
Yeah.
MVRV, after this dip, we see that people are a bit negative now. So that's good. It means there's lower risk at adding onto your position, as you would expect. Long-term wise, though, people are still in profit, so you have to keep that in mind. It's usually best when you see both the 30-day and the 365-day MVRVs low like this. That's usually the ideal buy setups. We have seen some shorting, but not so much for Bitcoin. Until Bitcoin starts to see big shorting, we have to take that with a grain of salt. Whale transactions have been up a bit. You can see this trend. If I take off this one, the $1 million plus transactions, definitely moving up as whales are beginning to show a little more interest. The amount of shark and whale addresses are kind of moving up a little bit too, which is good to see. We already touched on the percentage of supply of the sharks and whales going down ever so slightly. Not a lot of dormant movement at the moment. Supply and exchanges. So this is interesting. Right around when the SEC lawsuit news hit, that's when we started to see it drop even more. And Bitcoin's supply and exchanges is actually at its lowest in almost 5.5 years now, at about 6.4%.
Wow.
Because people simply don't trust keeping their coins on Binance and Coinbase right now.
They were
burned by FTX.
Well, it's interesting that the price is going down instead of the other way, with supply that low on exchanges.
Yeah, I mean, this is more of a long-term metric. I would not take it as a swing trade metric where it goes down and you expect prices to immediately jump up. But it generally just means that the lower it goes, the more safe we are of seeing another huge sell-off. And this wasn't necessarily from a sell-off. It could have just been, the bot algorithms that are tied to precious metal prices, dropping the price of Bitcoin and selling because of that. There's a bevy of reasons. But yeah, I mean, long-term, this is a much better indicator. But over the span of a few days or a few weeks, you won't see a ton of correlation on this metric.
Yep.
Also notice how the social dominance of Bitcoin has really fallen down as of late because of the fact that altcoins are all being talked about now, and they are the ones that had been crashing throughout the week before everything really dropped today.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned Litecoin. We can look at that really quick. Now we're within 2 months until the early August halving.
Yeah.
We saw this really strange anomaly in late May, early June for about a week, and then it dropped off. I'm still not quite sure what caused this, but it must have been, a lot of accumulation going on from key addresses that are preparing for the halving and expect prices to go up. Obviously, this was the local top, so it hasn't worked out for them yet, but it's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Nothing really too special on the daily active addresses or circulation side of things. MVRV, we do see that they're both in the negative now. I mentioned that that's usually a key bullish indicator. So as far as dip buys go, this can be a pretty strong signal to be optimistic about.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of shorting going on, I notice as well. If we zoom in here to like just the last week, you can see that this bar just showed up in the past 8 hours or so. And the last time we really saw these big bars was when Litecoin was kind of in this bottom area and moving up. So that's a good sign.
Nice.
And then whale transactions, we continue to see some weird stuff with it just getting huge amounts of $1 million plus transactions, then almost none at all. And now we're back to about a month straight of very huge whale transactions. So likely related to the halving in some way, but really hard to tell.
Mm-hmm.
Sharks and whales are usually kind of in this region, and they're all moving up. So we're seeing more and more big addresses popping up on the LTC network. Always a good sign.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of dormant movement. Yeah, that's about it. Not a lot of social dominance right now for Litecoin either.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, I remember the last halving, it peaked at around May, where it went bonkers, and then it kind of just came down, and then the halving was a non-event.
What month was they having?
I think it was around the same time, August, in 2018. No, sorry,
2019.
2019. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it could be another non-event. It's really hard to say, but I mean, it's at least a great sign to see that there's all this accumulation going on right now.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. I mean, whilst we're here, have we got time for maybe one last one and have a look at Ethereum and see what's happening on Ethereum?
Sure. So on the Ethereum side, we actually posted
this on the web for if they are messy. What's happening on this?
Your Alexa is looking for something. I just posted something about Ethereum today I wanted to show. Here we go. So we talked about, obviously, this was right after the Jerome Powell news happened, within an hour of it. Mm-hmm. And it was interesting to see that we had this huge dormant token event. So this is called age consumed, and it looks at the age in which coins had been moved during this interval multiplied by the amount of coins that were moved. And there is undoubtedly a correlation between tops happening when we see these big Ethereum spikes, just like we saw right here about 10 days ago, right before that big drop. And also right here, maybe about 16 hours before the big drop.
Yeah.
So that was quite interesting. And that was it was an 11-month high, by the way, that age consumed spike. So it was a pretty significant event. And then if I look at some of the main metrics for Ethereum, nothing too special in transaction volume or trading volume right now. We did see this big spike in circulation, and this correlated with that age consumed spike. So yeah, there was suddenly a huge amount of unique tokens being moved. And that was kind of right at this local top here when it was still in the high, 1880s or so, right below 1900. And now it's dropped all the way down to 1649 at the time of this recording.
Yeah, that's interesting. Wow. That's yeah, so it's been a volatile month as you've said, Brian, and it's been a it's been certainly an interesting one.
Totally.
I wonder what's around the corner.
Yeah, I mean, if we continue to see a lot of bearishness from the crowd, that would indicate that a rebound is more likely. But it sounds like a lot of people are kind of hanging on to the Binance and Coinbase latest news and reacting, and
Yeah.
usually overreacting to whatever developments happen there.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, excellent. Thank you, Brian. I mean, I guess is it about time now? Yeah, it's about time.
Yeah, but no, always a pleasure getting on these calls with you, Andy, and thank you to all of Andy's community who tunes in to watch these. I know our Santiment community loves our chats here, so I'm looking forward to the next one, and hopefully we have some more positive, bullish news to review at that time.
Yeah, definitely, and I think in terms of news, I mean, we 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 report it as we see, right? So we're pretty data driven. Sentiment is all about the data, so it's interesting. I mean, we don't we don't give you any financial advice here, but markets are what they are, and take what Brian has shown, and then make your assessment about the market, and then take action accordingly or not. I mean, not taking action is also a decision when it comes to investing, isn't it?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. So sometimes it's just wait and see, and then you make your next move. All right, it's been a pleasure, Brian, and thank you so much for jumping on again. Sorry for canceling last week because I was traveling, and thanks for coming on again. And looking forward to every time you come on our calls. It's always full of insights.
Thank you, my friend. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Brian. Have a great one, everyone. Have a great night, Brian.
You bet.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.